Hello everybody, it's your boy, the Almighty Green Talent, bringing you a video of today's game. The Eagles have won this preseason football game 14-13. They beat the New England Patriots at New England. The game didn't turn out the way I thought it would go, but before I begin this video, don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe to the channel. Please hit the notification bell on top. And also, please don't forget to smash the like, because that gets the video circulating throughout YouTube and social media itself, and every other platform there is. So let's go ahead and begin with the statistics of this football game. The Eagles had quite a couple of quarterbacks to play. They had Greer play, and they also had Tyler McKee play. Those were two quarterbacks that played for us. I'm concerned. McKee had 15 of 19 for 140 yards. Then he had then David Price guy had 4 attempts for 28 yards, and Nagata had 5 receptions for 88 yards. And as far as the game concerned, the Eagles kicked 3 and then go again into the fourth quarter, with New England scoring 10 in the second quarter. So but they were able to stop New England on a scoring drive by getting a turnover before the game came to an end. It was like a minute, some seconds left in the game before we came to an end. And overall total yards, New England had 283 yards, and the penalties had 4 penalties for 40 yards. They didn't work on those penalties. 2 turnovers, no turnovers from where I can see. Third down, 5 of 15, and fourth down, 0 for 3. Total plays, 67 plays. Let me see. And get to the let me see. Player statistics. Okay, here we go. They had 3 quarterbacks play. All 3 quarterbacks played. McKee had the most yards with 140 off 15 or 19 attempts. Pickett had 67 yards off 11 of 13 attempts, and Greer had 35 yards off 3 of 5 attempts. And the yard per average was 7.4 McKee, 5.2 Pickett, and 7.0 Greer. None of the quarterbacks scored no touchdowns, so it means that the touchdowns were basically runs. And here's the ratings. McKee had a 97.4 rating. Pickett had 88.1, and Greer had 81.2. So all 3 quarterbacks did really well as far as statistics and ratings, because they each were over 70% rating. Okay, here's the rushing. 4 for 25. David Price. Shipley had 5 for 15 and 3.0 average. Nichols was 4 for 10 or 2.5 average. Greer 1 for 8, 8.0. Gainwell 3 for 8, 2.7. Pickett had 2 for 8, 3.0. Milton had 2 for 2, 1.0, and McKee was 4 for -4 of -1. Like I said, no touchdown was scored. Milton had the 1 touchdown, that which was rushing. And the receiving, Nagata had 5 for 88, 17.6. Jenkins had 5 for 47, 9.4. Shipley had 4 for 31, 7.8. Watkins had 4 for 28, 9.3. Milton was 1 for 10, 20.0. Gaineswell 3 for 10, 3.3. Ross was 1 for 9, 9.0. Nichols 2 for 2 receptions for yards, 60 yards, 3.0. Colvin was 1 for 5, 5.0. Harris was 1 for 5, 5.0. Forsett was 1 for 3, 3.0. Smith was 1.0, 1 for 0, and Price was 1 for 0. That's the receiving. That's the 588. That's receiving yards and averages. So defensive was pretty good. We built with the defense. Dean had, okay, I'm finna get with TOT and assists. Okay, then Kobe Dean with 5-1, Hunt 3 for 2, most Porto with 3 for 2, Huff with 3 for 1, McCollum with 3-0, Booker 3-1, and he had 1 sack. And Meadows with 3 for 0 and had 1 interception. Sam with 2-0. Smith with 2-2. Bond with 2-0. Bradbury with 2-1. Johnson with 1-1. Ricks with 1-0. Smith with 1-0. One sack. And Lewis was 1 sack. So the Eagles had 3 sacks in this game, with Lewis, Smith, and Booker with the sacks. Joe was 1 for 0. Mitchell was 1-0. White was 1-0. Hall was 1-0. Rogers 1-0. Ringo 1-0. Trotter was 1-0, and Van Simmons was 1-0. Jackson was 1-0. Kick returns. John Ross had 2 for 66 yards, 3.4 average. Davis was 1 for 26.0 average, and Nichols was 1 for 18.0 average. And kick returns, punt returns was about a Nye Smith, who had 2 returns for 13 yards. 6.5 average as long was 8. Rushing was kicking with Jake Elliott. He was 2 for 2, average for 40 as long as 42 yards, which he did pretty well. He did pretty good tonight compared to last week. And punting, man, with 4 for 191, and his average was 47.0 along with 56, and inside 20 he had 2 inside the 20. So the Knicks, not the Knicks, but the Eagles did pretty well in this game. They did a whole lot better this time statistically compared to last week's statistics. So this team is getting better, but they still got a lot of copy play they need to work on. The penalty need to work on the penalty. They had 4 penalties, it's less than 10 penalties, but some of the penalties in tonight's preseason game were costly in some aspects. So I'm hoping that this last preseason game, because the last preseason coming up, and there will be no starters playing in this game. The Eagles is going to start trimming. Eagles also going to start trimming their roster down from 90 to about 75, I believe, this week. And the last preseason game, they're going to trim from 75 to 53-man roster. Some of the guys could get traded, for draft pick, or they can trade players for better players. They can do it that way. It could be a lot of trades going on, and a lot of releases going on for the Philadelphia Eagles. Because the Eagles got a pretty good roster, which is the difficult part of the regular season. They got to cut players. They got to do all of that. So we're gonna see what happened in this last preseason game. But this week alone, going into next week, there will be some cuts. There will be some cut downs. We're going to see how that happens. Some of the guys that made an impact going to wind up being cut, or going to be released, or they're going to wind up on the practice squad. A lot of that's going to be going on between now and next week, y'all. So be ready, because it's going to be a shakedown going into next week's game, the last final game of the regular season. Then it's going to be a 2-week layoff going into the postseason, going into the regular season. Then it's going to be the first game against the Green Bay Packers in Brazil. That game, from what I've been told, has already been sold out, from what I was told. So a lot of people, a lot of Eagle fans, content creators, a lot of them are going to be going to that game. So, but other than that, I'll be home watching the game. I can't wait to see it. And wait for the season to get started. I really can't wait. So anyway, let me go ahead and end this video on a high note. Again, the Eagles won the preseason football game, 14-13. We 2-0 in the preseason. We probably gonna be 2-1 to end the preseason set going into the regular season. So Because there would be no starter playing. It could be mostly second and third string players and backup players going. So a lot of that could be happening next week's game. So again, you guys enjoy your Thursday night. See you next week for the Eagles play last and final preseason game. Video will be made. I'm out of here. Peace. And see the hat? Yeah, boy. Love that hat. Peace.